Battle Through the Heavens, Grand World. Chapter 204 Spirit Emperor Law. This fingernail-sized black-colored ore was the heavenly core that Master Mo had gifted Xiao Yan when he was selling Crimson Fire Flame Wolves in the Black Sand Castle auction. Initially, he thought that it was a very rare ore. Unexpectedly, at this moment, it had an extraordinary reaction with the ore in the brocade box. Following the sudden ringing of the star moon, not only Xiao Yan, even the Xiaoao widened its eyes in surprise. This strange buzzing sound came from the ore in the brocade box. Although it wasn't loud, it caused the entire cave to shake slightly. Kai. While Xiao Yan was in shock, the small ore in his hand trembled slightly. It used a strange force to break free from Xiao Yan's restraints and instantly rushed into the brocade box. It seamlessly merged with the brocade box within. At the instant the two profound ore of different sizes were complemented, the cryptic and difficult to understand words on the profound ore seemed to have a spirit of their own. Although it was still extremely blurry, Xiao Yan could vaguely make out this word. That word seemed to be the word, star. Other than that, there were only mysterious patterns and no hints regarding this thing. However, since any Emperor Cultivation Senior could put this thing here, it wasn't without reason. This black mine. It might have unimaginable power, but with his current strength, it was impossible for him to understand it in depth. While Xiao Yan was frowning and looking at the black ore in the brocade box, the Xiaoao's expression suddenly changed. For the first time, a trace of seriousness appeared on its delicate face. It said anxiously, "Xiao Yan, let's go. This place seems to be collapsing." After being pulled back to reality by the Xiaoao's words, Xiao Yan came back to his senses and quickly looked around. He could not help but be shocked. Following that strange buzzing sound, the stone cave began to sway. The fist-sized rocks on the surrounding walls seemed to be about to fall down at any moment. "Hurry up and leave." His gaze swept across the interior of the stone cave. Other than the unknown coffin tomb, there was nothing else. With a wave of his hand, he had already stored the brocade box and the Blood Night Heaven cauldron beside him into his storage ring. He spoke in a deep voice. At the same time, he had already rushed out of the cave. The Xiaoao did not slow down in the slightest. With a flash of its body, it followed closely behind Xiao Yan. Suddenly, as if it had sensed something, the Xiaoao's body suddenly stopped. It turned around and looked at the bronze coffin tomb behind the stone platform. Its small face was filled with doubt, and a trace of confusion flashed across its eyes. Boom! In the next moment, along with the gradually dissipating buzzing sound, the stone cave collapsed with a loud bang, covering everything. It also interrupted the Xiaoao's gaze. He pouted. The Xiaoao withdrew his gaze. He waved his long sleeve and his body rushed forward like a lightning. He easily caught up with Xiao Yan's footsteps. As he shuttled through the tunnel, Xiao Yan's gaze paused. He saw a broken arm not far away. The blood on the broken arm had already solidified. The entire arm was grayish-black and had become scarlet red and stiff. This severed arm was cut off by Chen Rong before he died. He originally wanted to force out the spirit of heart flame that had entered his body from the wound, but he was still turned into ashes and vanished into thin air. He rushed to the front of the broken arm, and just as Xiao Yan was about to leap over it, his eyes twitched, and he focused his attention on the 5 fingers of the broken arm. A ghost head storage ring was placed on his index finger, flashing with a dim light. Without much thought, Xiao Yan had already picked up the broken arm. With lightning-like speed, he stripped off the storage ring on his finger. At any rate, it was left behind by a monarch emperor-level expert. There should be quite a number of good things within it. Although he had found many priceless treasures in this tomb, Xiao Yan still felt some regret in his heart. After all, he had not seen the most direct monarch crystal, let alone the heavenly core. His plan to realize the other 2 parts of the holy rank trial had been completely destroyed. Xiao Yan and the Xiaoao rushed forward with all their strength. The tunnel behind them also quickly collapsed. Rocks of different sizes poured down like a heavy rain, and the rumbling sounds of explosions never stopped. With the 2 of them running with all their strength, the underground tunnel quickly reached its end. When they raised their heads to look, a faint light could be seen. That was the exit of the tomb. Seeing Xiao Yan scratching his ears and cheeks, the Xiaoao beside him pouted and said with a mischievous smile, "You want to go out? I'll bring you out." As he spoke, a red light surged on his body. In the blink of an eye, his entire body was covered by the red light. The Xiaoao in the center waved its wide sleeve and its petite body began to rise. Seeing the Xiaoao's actions, Xiaoyan quickly reacted from his initial shock. After that, he was overjoyed. It seemed like the aura that this fellow had released just now wasn't fake. He had really reached the Monarch Emperor, and he could now use the Origin Monarch Key to transform into a pair of wings and fly into the sky. However, the Xiaoao could fly just by relying on the energy within its body. This ability was something that even some Emperor cultivation experts were unable to achieve. Currently, the strength of the Xiaoao had completely reached a new level. However, he did not know how its true strength was. After grabbing Xiaoyan's arm, the Xiaoao's body soared into the sky. Within a few breaths' time, it had already rushed out of the underground cave and ascended into the vast plains. The instant the two of them rushed out of the cave, the ground collapsed. The dozens of huge rocks that were guarding this place also shattered with a loud bang. This piece of land, it instantly merged with the entire desert. There was nothing special about it. It also announced everything about that Emperor cultivation warrior. It was all because of him that he disappeared. In the vast history of the world, it was like an insignificant grain of sand had been abandoned here. Xiaoyan stood on the ground and clenched his fist. He looked at the desert under his feet with a complicated expression. Finally, he raised his head to look at the sky and let out a long sigh. Perhaps, this was the world. He turned his head and looked in the direction he came from. There was no trace of the huge black sand castle at this moment. In this vast world, everything was shrinking infinitely. After a while, Xiaoyan shook his head with a bitter smile. This time, all the experts in Black Sand Castle had been killed. All the top experts had died in the tomb. It seemed like Black Sand Castle would welcome a huge change in blood in the near future. Xiaoyan withdrew his gaze and looked at the Xiaoao that was flying in the sky due to excitement. He laughed lightly and took out the ghost head storage ring that was taken from Chenrong's arm. In any case, it was still a Monarch Emperor level expert, let alone a Monarch Emperor level expert that could survive. A Monarch Emperor in this kind of situation would definitely have a lot of wealth. Xiaoyan's brows trembled slightly as he thought of this. Powerful soul force flowed out from his brows and easily broke through the weak defense of the storage ring in his hand. Without the protection of his master's Origin Monarch Key, this kind of defense could be said to be weak and unable to withstand the wind. Xiaoyan's spiritual strength had just entered the storage ring when he was attracted by the mountain-like monarch crystals. He was a little stunned as he looked at the monarch crystals that were like a small hill. Xiaoyan could not help but be overjoyed. From a rough look, these monarch crystals should be in the millions. Adding the monarch crystals that he originally had, it was likely that those 10 million monarch crystals were already enough to gather. Xiaoyan chuckled as he shifted his gaze away from the pile of monarch crystals. He once again looked at the other places within the storage ring. He did not discover any heavenly cores, causing Xiaoyan to feel a little regretful. In the next moment, a pile of neatly arranged books attracted Xiaoyan's attention. With a thought, Xiaoyan's soul power quickly surged over and swept across the pile. The corner of Xiaoyan's mouth couldn't help but reveal a trace of a smile. The four colors of the scrolls on the top of the pile were gorgeous. They were white, red, black, and green in a strange pattern. On the top of the scroll, there were 4 flamboyant and graceful characters. 4 Spirit Emperor Technique. Chapter End. Hi guys, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.